In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use Premiere Pro to compile and edit audio. By this point, we've used Premiere Pro to put our animations together and to do some light edits with effects and cutting. There are other programs in the Adobe suite that we use for audio, but Premiere is also a pretty decent audio editing software. So I'm just going to keep sticking with Premiere rather than teach you a new software. By this point, you should have collected a collection of audio clips that relate to your earliest memory haiku. Here is my folder structure, and here was my audio. And you'll notice here, this is my sound effects folder, and within that, I've got this collection of audio clips to work with. And once you're open here in Premiere, let me actually just go back so we can kind of walk through this. So we're creating a new project. We're choosing this project file folder within the earliest memory folder. And I'm going to call this earliest memory. I'm doing it V2 just because I have another version from earlier. All right, and we're going to switch to editing mode. You might still be on effects from the last time you used Premiere, but we're going to keep it on editing. And so here, just like any other Premiere Pro project, we're going to go to this import media, and we're going to select all of our audio clips like so. We're importing them in here. And one thing that you can do that would be a good practice with Premiere is actually to rename your different clips so you know what they are. So if you double click on an audio clip and click here, this is in the source viewer, you can hear that, and I'm going to call that click. Here's the next one. That's rocks. And this one, let's click on that. It's falling leaves. So yeah, you double click them to rename, and here's one more. Yeah, that's scraping rocks. All right, and to get started, we're going to choose a piece of media. So I'm going to start with my first line of my haiku, which is my rock collection. So I'm going to get this rocks audio clip, click that and drag it here to my timeline in the bottom right. Now here in Premiere, you'll see we've got our timeline editor up here, and we're really just, again, trying to get a 10-second clip that has a 3-second first sequence, a 4-second second sequence, and a 3-second final sequence. And already I see that my clip is way too long for the 3 seconds that I want it to be. We've learned how to cut and edit audio and video clips. So we're going to use that same tool, the razor tool, and I'm just going to cut out this section like so. There's that rock falling, and then let's go here. And maybe I will cut one more sequence like so. And then you can bring all of these clips over to the start of the track. All right, and this is where my 3 seconds end up. So I know that all this audio is within the 3 seconds. Let's see how that plays. All right, I think that sounds pretty good. It sounds like me as a young kid just taking these rocks and putting them in a pile together. So let's say I wanted to layer some audio. Like I wanted to have these falling leaves sound behind my rocks. I can actually take that and I can place that in another audio track. All of these lines here, A1 is audio track 1, A2 is audio track 2, and so on. These are all different tracks of audio and they all layer on top of each other. Now, because we're just using audio, one thing that you're going to want to do actually is to double click all your tracks, because then you can actually visualize the audio. And so here, like these peaks, I know that that's when the rocks come in. And let me start doing this. Yeah, so that's like the sound of leaves falling that I want. So let's say I take that and I select that with that V selection, and I bring that over, and then I could cut it right at the 3-second mark. And let's hear how that audio plays one on top of the other. It sounds like autumn to me. All right, so that's the first thing I wanted to share with you, just about layering and grabbing these different audios and putting them on top of each other. And the other thing that I think is going to be useful for you is playing with the decibel level of your audio. So with my second one, my second line of my haiku is maple copters falling. These are like these little leaves that when they fall from the sky, they kind of twirl like a helicopter. I thought it would be fun to have this helicopter sound. All right, now again, I want this sequence to be 4 seconds. So from 3 to 7, right about there. So I'm gonna bring that playhead to 7 and I'm gonna cut it right there. I'm going to get rid of the rest. So this is like my helicopter sound coming in. Now, one thing you need to keep in mind is keeping the audio levels consistent. So in the beginning, right, my clip is very, very soft. But then that helicopter is like really, really blaring. I'm actually going to move this in just so this clip comes in a little later. So if you remember from the bouncing ball activity, we learned how to bring the decibel level of a whole track down. And you need to do this by double-clicking on the track to expand it so you get all this information. And what you'll also get is this little decibel level here. If you click on that, you can bring that up and down to change the decibel levels of your audio track. So it's all defaulting at 0, 0, but if you click on that and bring it down, it goes to negative what? This is negative 6 decibels. That means it's much softer. Let's hear the original. And then let's hear it at 6 decibels. And then even further down to negative 16, super soft. So that's one way that you can play with the decibel levels of your tracks. But another way actually builds off of what we've learned in animation, and that's to use keyframes. Again, if you double click on your audio track, you get this editor down here. This is your keyframe editor, and this allows you to play with different effects within your Premiere Pro track. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my playhead, this blue bar, to the start of my audio track here. And then I'm going to click on this Add Keyframe button. If you'll see here, what it did is it added this little gray dot, like so. And then if I remove my playhead over here, and I add another dot like so, I now have these 2 points where I can make the decibel level variable, where it changes. So it's not always all at negative, 6 at this point. Some can be at -6, or some can even start even lower, and then get higher the later the clip goes. The easiest way I can illustrate what this is doing is actually just to show you what it looks like to have a jagged decibel level. Like so, and here's what happens if I like take these keyframes and I just bring them up and down like a roller coaster. So with this variable editor, with the keyframes, you can really play with having sound that's close to you, that's really loud, like here, and then going far away, like at these valleys. So using these three tools, the razor cutting tool, layering audio tracks, and playing with the decibel levels using the keyframes, our goal is to create an audio clip, a sound collage that looks something like, or sounds something like this. Something rich, something layered, and something where the sound levels are consistent, or at least thoughtful. So once you have your tracks done, actually let me see if my old version of my earliest memory is still available. Yes, I think this is it. Yeah. All right, so this was my, this is the final version of my sound collage. So once that sound collage is done, like here you can kind of see the way I've played with the decibel levels and just how many tracks I have layering over each other. Once you're done with that, you're going to export it. Now normally when we've been exporting from Premiere, we've been using this H.264 setting. But instead, we're going to switch to MP3, like so. And you can change it to high quality, that's 256 kilobytes per second. Click on this blue thing, and then you can change where to export it. And I'm going to export it in this exports folder, whatever version you're at. And because it's just audio, it should export pretty fast. Like so. And then you'll have it as a nice small MP3 file. Which you can then upload to your Google Drive folder. And that's a little how-to on how to make your sound collage. Again, we're using the structure of a 3-second sequence, then a 4-second sequence, and then a 3-second sequence to make this sound collage. Have this MP3 ready for when it's due. It's going to change depending on the class, and then we'll look over them once we're done.